which gets immediate relief.
Hi everyone.
The very high level. And then the other part of the agreement is really very facing. When you actually look at the legal text of what was agreed, what it is a set of commitments by the UK and the US to negotiate future agreements around a whole host of things, which may include typically kind of trade like tariffs and market access, and actually talk about other things, how investments are treated, how exports are treated to other parts of the world as well.
So I mean, it sounds like you're saying that you see it more as a starting point than a finished deal. You mentioned the car industry. It includes quotas. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you stand. I mean, compared to where we were yesterday, this is a very good deal for the car sector. They were facing 27.5% tariffs on exports to the United States. So very challenging for a company like Jaguar Land Rover, which makes all its cars that it sells to the US in the UK. So they're now at 10%, and it's capped at 100,000 cars, which is nearly, but not quite all of the cars that are sold to the US. So 10% is much better than 27.5%, but it's not as good as 2.5%, which was what the rate of tariff was 5 weeks ago before April the 2nd. So I think you can look at it both as a very positive thing and perhaps not such a positive thing, depending upon where your starting point is.
Well, we heard from the White House spokesperson, Janet Leavitt, who was asked about this issue about the car industry, and she said the baseline of 10% tariff would remain. I mean, do you think that at this point, is it too optimistic to think we're ever going to go back to the 2.5% we mentioned?
It certainly feels that this administration in the US is intent on maintaining this relatively higher tariff wall of around 10%. That seems to be what we're hearing. If they were going to lower that for anyone, I think it would have been the United Kingdom because of the similar structure of the economies and the fact that both sides feel they've got a good trade relationship in goods, and yet it remains in place. The actual legal agreement suggests there will be future negotiations, so in theory that still going to come down to zero, with certain contingencies around that too, which need to be borne in mind. But they are coming down to zero. So there is an opportunity there, but we'll see. I think for the time being, I think exporters should expect to continue to pay that 10% level of tariff.
I mean, you did mention it. It's the first agreement between the UK and the US. Obviously not a done deal yet. But I suppose a sign for optimism. Do you think it's because, as you mentioned, the size of the economy, or do you think it's a sign of the Prime Minister's strategy that is paying off?
Look, I think the UK government has done a pretty good job in fairly difficult circumstances. I think for some of us, we'd like to have seen a deal which reduced tariffs further, but I think the fact that the UK was first is a very positive sign. And with other things going on in the UK, I think the India deal is a very positive thing too. Reduction in interest rates in the UK, so it's been I think a better week for UK business than we've had for a while. So I think a positive week.
Okay, so actually it seems to be a positive week as well for China. I mean, obviously always the target of Donald Trump's tariffs. And now we're seeing that perhaps there may be a turning point. What do you make of that, and how does that affect us?
Well, it does feel that the 145% tariffs are not really sustainable. I mean, that has basically stopped imports into the US, and of course a huge amount of consumer products comes into the US here from China. So I think that was never going to be permanent. It's interesting, again, if you look at the agreement with the UK, there are lots of clauses in that agreement which are really focused on export controls and investment controls in the UK, which really are about China. So what the US government is trying to do is to say, look, we want to do more business with you, but we want to know that you're lining up with us when it comes to some of the more challenging issues that we have with China. hope that there's some form of agreement over the weekend. We'll see. Our expectation is that this will take time, but maybe we will see a first stage reduction in tariffs after this weekend.
Back into comment on it if and when it happens. Duncan Edwards, CEO of British American Business, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Sky News coming up. The latest in the championship playoffs as Coventry City takes place in the Premier League for the first time in more than 12 years.
They're pushing forward, trying to get people to defer.
What can Harry want to do? What's he projecting?
Is that your opinion?
It is. It is. Since the Oval Office meeting, have they reached out to you?
Why don't you go back to your country?
You've got a file.
I don't have such a reaction.
It's just a whole separate baby stuff.
You said I'm not coming back. You have to come back.
There could be some more painful decisions to come.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ellie, you've always made it simple for me. To get great value car insurance. So what you get, they come up from just £315. Get your quote today at lv.com.
If you call a car grand, make it grand. You design an electrical logo. The super battery range.
New Vauxhall Grandland Electric with a range up to 425 miles. When you paint by feeling, you can hold on to a blooming good day. Change starts here. Phoenix. You'll see things differently in what's free to sell on eBay.
Well, you're in big leagues now.
How was your vacation? Oh, I hated it.
With your 10% loyalty program discount, that's £190 for the night.
Not bad.
£130 a month.
Hold up. How?
It's easy when you know what to do. Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of sites, so you could save up to 40%. Trivago's my secret Hotels. Trivago.
On the wall back at but this week, Johnny Dodger's down to 48p, and Robinson Squash now just 94p. That's as supplies.
More now on the news. He celebrated his first mass a day after his election at the conclave in the Vatican. Leo XIV was joined by the cardinals who chose him to lead the Catholic Church, making him the first U.S.-born pontiff. He told them he hopes to bring light to the world's dark nights and promised to be a faithful administrator for the entire church.
We celebrate this morning. I invite you to recognize the marvels that the Lord has done, the blessings that the Lord continues to pour out upon all of us. To the ministry of Peter, you have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission.
Well, earlier, my colleague, Jonathan Samuels, spoke to Cardinal Vincent Nicholas, the Archbishop of Westminster, who was one of those 133 cardinals given the responsibility of choosing the new pope.
There was great excitement and jubilation. Partly that a very difficult task had been done, and the crucial moment, of course, was when Cardinal Prevost was asked, "Do you accept?" And he said, with great calmness, "I accept." And then he was asked, "And what name will you take?" And he said, "Leo." And at that point, there was a wonderful sense of, okay, we've done our best, we've done our bit, and this is going to be good.
The conclave, of course, is shrouded in secrecy, and we hear a lot about the process, about quiet conversations in corridors, about whispered meals. Can you paint a picture for us? What was it like in the run-up to that announcement?
Well, I think the whole thing changed on Tuesday evening when most of the elector cardinals went to the residence, the Santa Marta residence, and we were sealed in. Mobile phones didn't work. We couldn't open the shutters. It was the secrecy was very important. And that gave a great calm in there, more than I ever expected. And quite frankly, for me, it's been quite a profound spiritual experience, an experience of being with fellow cardinals who share the same dedication, with our eyes and hearts focused on one thing, that is trying to discern what God wants. In whose heart did God write the name Pope? Because if he was in there, and we just try and discern who he was. But I would like to say that, unlike in the film, there was no rancor, there was no explosions of unknown quantities. And in fact, the whole time I didn't hear a raised voice or a voice that was trying to do somebody else down, or even a voice that was saying, please vote for me. It was far more calm and recollective, and it was a wonderful experience, frankly. I went in a bit fearful of it, intimidated, but once we were together, I found it really remarkable and very life-giving, actually.
That's fascinating. We did hear from the brother of Pope Leo today, who said that he in fact had watched the film Conclave, all the preparation for going in.
Hello, someone.
You had seen the film as well.
No, I'm sorry, I haven't seen the film. I read the book, and in many ways it was different because of the plot of the novel. But I think the details, as what everybody has described to me, were very accurate. And certainly the rule book that we followed is meticulous. So this was a process over which great detail and great care was taken, and it needed patience. So actually, I was patient to take things slowly.
And I don't know if you're allowed to answer this question, but was Pope Leo your first choice?
Let me say that when I came to Rome, I had a list in my mind of 3 or 4 possible candidates. He was certainly among them. The list changed a bit as the 10 days, 12 days went by, but he was never off my list.
Today, the new Pope has called for the Catholic Church to desperately counter a lack of faith. Those were his words in his first Mass. How do you think he'll do that? Do you think the Catholic Church needs modernising, and how will he try and achieve that?
Well, I think what we had in Pope Francis was a remarkable expression of the beauty and the richness of the gospel of Jesus Christ, particularly mercy, forgiveness, hope, try again, get up, don't lose your dignity. Nobody should give up their dignity. Now, I think what Pope Leo is going to try and do is say those things are the work of everybody. He wants a missionary church, not simply a missionary pope. And so that's where it then comes down to every parish, every community. Here's a man who's been the bishop of a poor diocese. People with great faith and great motivation. And I know that in the diocese of Westminster, the energy of the church often lies in the work of people get on and build their lives and walk around with dignity in their work. What the Pope has to do is try and keep this all together. And I think he's got great skills in finding ways through problems, whether they're organizational or personal, and the show on the road and keeping a great sense of we are in this together. And at the heart of it is our devotion and the love of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's very interesting what you're saying. As a cardinal, he was fairly critical, wasn't he, of the new administration in the United States. Do you think that will be an issue going forward? How will you navigate that?
Well, I'm not sure he'll have an exclusive eye on the United States. In one sense, he's now even more a citizen of the world. So his range of interest is going to be clearer. But questions around immigration touch every nation almost, pretty well without exception. And it's just a question of how we understand progress. Pope Francis had a lovely expression. If you want to know how good your economy is, then go and ask an unemployed person. And there'll be a similar approach, I think, from Pope Leo, because they come from the same stock. He's an Augustinian from Augustine from the 5th century. And if people look at what Augustine said, then they find that reflected in this Pope Leo, I'm quite sure.
This is Sky News. Let's get the latest report now with
I'm gonna smash the world record.
Oh, you
This sports bulletin is brought to you by Vitality.
Hello, the remaining 8 matches in Pakistan's domestic cricket tournament, the PSL,
How are you?
as a result of the rising tensions between India and their neighbours. Organisers have hoped to complete the competition in the UAE. Meanwhile, the Indian Premier League, one of the world's richest sporting tournaments, has been suspended for 1 week. Indian cricket's governing body, the BCCI, say in the interest of all stakeholders, that is. It comes after the match between Punjab Kings and Delhi Capitals was abandoned yesterday. The England and Wales Cricket Board say they are in contact with the 10 English players involved in the IPL. Earlier, the ECB said they still expect India's summer tour of England to go ahead as planned. The Women's World Cup will be expanded from 32 teams to 48 for the 2031 tournament. The FIFA Council today agreed the tournament will be made up of 12 groups of 4 and it will run for an additional week. The hosts are yet to be confirmed, but the USA are the only country to have put a bid in so far. The UK will host the 2035 competition. Liverpool head coach Arne Slot hopes supporters won't give Trent Alexander-Arnold a negative reaction when the champions face Arsenal on Sunday. It will be the England international's first appearance at Anfield since announcing he's leaving Liverpool this summer with Real Madrid, his likely destination. Reaction to the news of Alexander-Arnold's decision to end his 20 years with Liverpool has varied wildly across pundits and fans. The Liverpool boss says it's not really his place to tell people how they should react.
I think we're all disappointed. But Trent is the first one also who said that he would prefer us as a team not to be too much distracted by this announcement. So I'm hoping that all the energy on Sunday goes to players as less as possible.
Send this viral.
Unless it's possible, then they can do whatever.
The championship playoffs continue tonight with Coventry up against Sunderland. It's goalless at half-time. Coventry have had much of the ball. The best chance to the visitors Sunderland. The Leeds may end a solo USPGA championship. The end of the day in a tie of 26 alongside 9 other players. Jack Draper through to round 3 at the Italian Open. He beat Luciano Darcieri in straight sets in front of his home crowd. This forehand return even demonstrating why he's made it into the top 5. He took the first set 6-1 and his drop shot there just as effective as he clinched 6-4. Cam Norrie is out though. He lost in straight sets to Daniel Medvedev. Britain's Emma Raducanu is through to the 3rd round for the first time. She beat Jill Tiedemann in straight sets. Her opponent was a late replacement for Ekaterina Alexandrova, who withdrew from the match just 3 hours before. There's more on all those stories, plus build up to all the weekend action right now over on Sky Sports News. I'm back a bit later.
Hi, I'm Stanley. I like long walks on the beach and I'm looking for love. The ideal atmosphere, whatever the altitude. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
well, high pressure will continue to be the dominating force on our weather, but as one area moves away and another develops, there is the potential for brief change. Heavy thundery showers are likely to spread from the continent into the southwest over the weekend. And for much of the country, it's going to be a fine, sunny and warm end to the day. Cloud will be a little thicker over the far northwest of Scotland, where there may be a little patchy rain. Well, overnight, the clear skies and light winds will allow a little mist or fog to form in places. It will become chilly too, with the potential for a warm frost from Wales northward.
Breathtaking views with clear skies ahead. Qatar Airways sponsors the weather.
This is Sky News coming up in the next hour. What happened in court today when two men were found guilty of cutting down the world-renowned sycamore gap tree?
Sycamore gap trial.
Being an adult sucks. When they're not cooking, adults have to get children in order to cook again later on. When adults get mail, it's always bills and bills.
Sure, but we've got the driver's license.
New electric Alpine 8290, the irresistible attraction of lightness.
Say hi, Choo-Choo.
Hello, my good boy.
It's sweeter than the sweetest with the new
Hello, Bob Tyson. How are you?
Without glue. Swallow
What's your name, Mick?
week after week after week.
Reveal yourself.
Break the cycle. It's much easier with blue. Fresh for up to 30 days. So there's more time for the nice things in life. Try blue now.
Sometimes the gesture is enough. And with higher artificial intelligence, you nurture human connections in a few seconds. An innovative program can say a lot about yourself and make your presence truly felt even remotely. So when technology revolves around you, you can revolve around them. A gesture has a gift. It connects with others instinctively. Higher connect to extraordinary.
Your clothes lost their magic? Dylon renews them in only 10 washes. New? No, wash with Dylon. Dylon's best color care. Available also as caps. Try now.
I can tell when someone's lying, it's kind of the thing I do. So, who are you? I am Felicity Price. Both. I figured it out and finally start enjoying this journey. Tell me that you're gonna kill him. You brought up me.
That might be foolproof.
Image, I think, care.
This is Sky News at 9 o'clock. The headlines this evening. Found guilty of cutting down the sycamore gap tree, but police say they still don't know why.
Sycamore tree.
We often hear references to acts of mindless vandalism. But that term has never been more relevant than today.
Another exchange of fire between India and Pakistan as tensions continue to rise on the disputed Kashmir border. Donald Trump hints he's prepared to soften his stance over America's trade war with China, but his press secretary says it has to be a two-way street.
He is not going to unilaterally bring down tariffs on China.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister dismisses Tory claims that he's been shafted by Donald Trump in the trade deal with the U.S. Plus, the Pope celebrates his first Holy Mass as the head of the Catholic Church.
You have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission.
Good evening. Two men are facing lengthy jail sentences after being found guilty of cutting down the world-renowned sycamore gap tree on Hadrian's Wall last year. Construction worker Daniel Graham and mechanic Adam Carruthers worked together to fell the 150-year-old sycamore. The tree's loss led to consternation across the country, and police said today they still don't know why the pair did it. Our North of England correspondent Shinji Mararike reports.
More than 150 years of history, cut down in just moments. An act of vandalism, filmed in darkness and enhanced by police. The sycamore gap tree was a symbol of regional and national pride. But overnight in September 2023, turning a historic site into a crime scene. The tree was destroyed and Hadrian's Wall, which it toppled onto, damaged. The jury agreed those were the actions of two men, Graham and Carruthers. One of them felling and the other fucking possession. It was this evidence, as well as Graham's phone and car being tracked to the site, that led to their conviction. The pair will now be held in custody before their sentence in July. The police still struggling to understand their motivation.
We often hear references